This is the best VA claim condition. I'm going to show you today how most veterans, probably including you watching, are losing out on around $1,700 each and every month. This connects with everything. Ultimately, by the end of this video, you're going to know how to double or even triple your monthly VA tax-free income. I'm Jordan Anderson with VA Claims Academy, a 100% permanent and total rated veteran, and have helped thousands of others do the same. And that's what we're doing today. So let's get into this. Tell me if this sounds familiar, okay? You have a rating. Let's say it's a mixture of a few physical ailments that went wrong during service. You had a hard fall during a parachute, so now you got some knee issues. Maybe you have a couple back issues as well, or simply ringing in your ears, right? Tinnitus, the most common VA rating. And that's it. You're probably stuck here with a 10 to maybe 40% rating, but feel like maybe something's missing. Maybe it doesn't really account for the true story and how you're affected by your service-connected ailments. Well, many veterans are missing a key piece. I'll give you here a quick metaphor to explain exactly maybe what you're not even thinking of how it could affect you. So let's say that I go on a trip to California. I rent a mansion in Calabasas, right? For whatever reason, maybe I throw a party and I damage the plumbing infrastructure in that home. I burst a pipe, it spews water everywhere. This water's leaking through the floors, leaking through the walls. What would happen then if the landlord found out and I told him, hey, you know what? No worries. I'll go to the home improvement store. I'm gonna get you a replacement pipe, spend $20. Here's the replacement for that pipe that burst. Let's call it even, yeah? A lot of veterans are that landlord, and we say, yes, sounds good, we'll call it even. I'm just happy to get something. That is something that really has a negative impact on our households. We feel like we're being unselfish by taking less than what we may have deserved, less than what honestly you've earned with your service, and thinking that that's the honorable thing to do. What about the water damage? What about the secondary effects that oftentimes are even greater for the original thing that was replaced, right? You can never have an equal, trade of cash for your health. Health is worth way more. When you are serving in the military, the government is renting you. They are, renting you as property of the U.S. government for the duration of that contract. So that's why if you ever got a bad sunscreen during active duty, or bad sunburn and gotten in trouble, gotten paperwork, that's why you're damaging government property. So with that comes the fact that, hey, if you're a tenant and you bust the pipes, not only are you responsible for the pipes, you're responsible for the water damage that it causes. If it makes sense that way, I just want you to translate that and realize that you are the Calabasas mansion. You are valuable. You were rented. If you were damaged, you need to set it straight. But veterans are getting their primary claim service connected, like we talked about, the knees, the back, the tinnitus, and completely ignoring the secondary effects. Let me show you this condition that connects to essentially any primary condition that you have that can get you an instant boost of, on average, 70%. Specifically, I'm talking about conditions called Somatic Symptom Disorder, or SSD, or chronic pain syndrome, okay? These two conditions, so many people have, misconceptions about what they could be. Individuals think that I've got to be really crippled in order to have mental effects from something physical. Let's step back for a moment. Let's say that we have, we've captured someone in battle and we have a detainee and we want answers from them. So what do? We do advanced interrogation, right? So certain tactics to maybe drive them nuts to where they're giving us answers. A lot of times that doesn't involve the worst of the worst in terms of pain. Think about this. Some of the worst forms of advanced interrogation could involve something like dropping a drop of water rhythmically on your forehead. It could involve sitting there in silence, isolation. These are not incredibly painful things at first, but simultaneously they can have the biggest mental impact. That is the same for veterans. I have seen over and over again hundreds of veterans who maybe it's not even their degenerative disc disease that's messing them up mentally, but it's the slight ringing in their ears consistently that gets them and just drives them nuts. So that's the moral of this story today is I want you to be able to acknowledge the fact that, hey, you know what? I don't have to try to be tough because I don't have it worse than Lieutenant Dan. We need to realize that it's a spectrum, it's a scale, and oftentimes the minor ailments, the minor service-connected conditions could have a massive effect on you in your everyday life, diminishing you at home, diminishing you, when you're hanging out with your children, with your spouse, and that needs to be reconciled. So if this sounds like it could be you, and I do really mean could be, you don't even have to know that it is. I need you to listen up here because I'm going to go through how to actually claim this condition and get it service connected. So first of all, it's a mental condition. So if you already are rated for a mental condition, this will not add to your rating. You simply could just increase your existing mental condition by attesting to the fact that you have social and occupational impairment that exceed, the current rating level that you have. So don't go trying to add mental conditions because they don't stack anyway. You can only get one rating for a mental condition. Now, a key part of this, even before a nexus letter, which we're about to talk about, is articulating your story, which could be complex, right? We're humans, everything affects us differently. So articulating exactly how holistically all of these conditions that you have given you this mental impact, and maybe you thought that, hey, I'm just a jerk because I'm a jerk, and I never thought it was because of my back, never thought it was because my flat feet, my sinusitis all the time. And now you're making that connection. Doing that on a personal statement specifically on Form 4138, as I always say, is so crucial because you can use that personal statement to actually take to your doctor to get a nexus letter as well, or if you're going to pay for a nexus letter somewhere, you can take that to them. You could even take it in to your compensation and pension exam. So it's so crucial that your personal statement truly is ironclad, that it's bulletproof. So by the way, if you need help with personal statements or want to learn more, go ahead and click the first link in the description. Now let's talk about nexus letters. This is a secondary claim, right? The bursted pipe sent out water, the water soaked through the drywall. That's the secondary damage of this primary action, which was the pipe bursting. So I'm on the hook as the tenant for all the wall damage and all the water damage, just like I am for the pipe burst. So as a secondary claim, meaning that this is due to your service-connected conditions, you need a nexus letter. So essentially, there's two ways to go about this. You can have your personal private doctor, or maybe even VA doctor, if they're nice enough, help you by filling out a nexus statement for you. You can request it. You can get a nexus letter template. We do specialize in those. First link in the description below. And that could save them a lot of time, right? No doctor really wants to spend 40 minutes writing a nexus letter for you. Or you can pay for a nexus letter. There's lots of companies. They charge, quite a bit, but it could be worth it because we're talking about, again, a 70% on average mental rating getting added on to your existing claim. Remember, the nexus letter is going to be the glue which connects, your condition to your active duty service, or in this case, a condition caused by your active duty service, which you've been deemed service connected for by the VA. So that's the glue. The nexus letter is going to be key. And again, the personal statement can help you get the nexus letter, help you get the CMP exam done correctly, and also help you get the correct rating. It's the ultimate force multiplier. So make sure to be fully equipped. It is worth it for you and your household. Look, nobody enjoys feeling crappy, waking up in the morning. No one enjoys back pain. No one's enjoying, oh, I can't wait to have IBS really bad today. So we can't convince ourselves that we are so tough and indestructible that our ailments have no mental impact, no mental effect. So even if you're questioning whether you even do have, a mental condition, guess what? Put your ego to the side, go to a psych doctor, get a checkup. if you get diagnosed with something, there you go. If you don't, there you go. But at least you have an answer. You did your due diligence on behalf of your family, on behalf of your household. So make sure to get your diagnosis if you need one, or get it updated if you haven't been to the doctor in a while, because that's what you need to do first before you go ahead and claim. Additionally, remember, this is a secondary claim, so not only do you need to make sure that you're either somatic symptom disorder or even anxiety, depression could be secondary to your primary condition, let's call it back. You also need to get that primary condition refreshed with a diagnosis. So if you haven't been to the doctor for your back, in a year, and now you're trying to claim that your back is so bad that it's causing you a mental, condition, you better dang sure make sure that you've been to the doctor for your back recently. So I'm talking within the last 3 months. If you haven't, knock out a back appointment first, get updated, get those records to the VA. Otherwise, it's going to look really bad when you file that claim. Also, do not delay. The mental rating criteria for the VA disability, 38 CFR, is in the works of being updated. It might happen around April 2025, okay? It might happen. It may get kicked down the road. Either way, you don't really want to wait. A lot of times, this mental condition is looking like, this update is looking like we may have a lower average rating for mental. So if it was me right now, I would go ahead and file immediately, get your appointments done, start your intent to file today, get the ball rolling, rather than to wait for the updated mental condition changes and potentially get rated significantly lower, which could cost you $500 a month, maybe even more. So in conclusion, this is something I see loads of vets struggling with and ultimately ignoring. They've been put on autopilot. They've had these conditions so long that they've learned to just kind of tune it out and convince themselves that it's not affecting them. This is the mistake that I want you to avoid. If you're that landlord and that tenant has had the pipe burst and it's created the water damage, you need to get the pipe replaced. You need to get the water damage fixed. That's all I'm saying. It's for you, it's for your household, so make sure we do our duty and get the record set straight. I'm Jordan Anderson with VA Claims Academy. I hope you enjoyed this video. Share this with someone who needs it, hit the like button, and sound off down below. Cheers.